Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Core, and I will be your YouTuber for today. The purpose of this video is to help people get a little bit more established in Graveyard Keeper and to give them some direction of what to do in the early game. The video is going to have 3 parts. The first part is going to be corpse processing and how to increase the quality of your graveyard without too much effort. The second part is going to be how to establish a more concrete iron supply, get iron production up and running. Iron's pretty valuable, so I felt as though that was important to cover. And the third part is just going to be some things that I did during my playthrough that I think you will also find useful during yours. Please enjoy. Right, so here we start off with part number 1, corpse processing. And we start at the very, very, very beginning when you first enter the graveyard and you bury the body and then the bishop comes along. So the bishop talks about some traditions and rituals and whatever. And you stop talking to him and you basically go up to the wooden box up there. And you retrieve the tools and you retrieve the repair kits from there. Now, after you do that, you go over to the graves, you press E on the graves, or whatever the button is, and you start fixing all of them up. I highly recommend that you do this initially, and this is one of the first things that you do in terms of increasing your graveyard quality. It really helps out a lot. The second thing that you should do is you should get rid of all those -1 quality shrubs. They are a really, annoying detriment. The only bright side is that they do give you green and red technology points. So after you kind of fix up all the graves and after you kind of get rid of those shrubbery, your quality should be at somewhere around -10. The plus 15 quality points that you need to get to the plus 5 in order for the bishop to actually promote you, that can easily be attained with the next part of the video. So now we move on to actual corpse processing. The first technology that you ever want to get in the game is going to be soft spares. Soft spares is going to allow you to extract blood and fat. Blood and fat are 2 great things to bring up the quality of the corpse. Fat will remove a red skull and add a white skull. If there is a red skull, it'll take one out, and blood will just add a white skull. After you have 4 white skulls on your body, and assuming that you don't have any surgical mistakes, you should go ahead and bury the body. The final grave quality, unupgraded, for the body is going to be 1, which means that if you bury bodies that have 3 white skulls or higher, you are always going to get either money, and you're also going to get a better graveyard. So you're going to either break even on the quality of your graveyard, or you're going to make some money off of it. This is a pretty good way of doing things in the beginning of the game if you don't really know what you're doing. So here, you can see me burying the body. The final grave quality is going to be +1, and that's exactly where I want it to be. Now, obviously, correctly processing bodies isn't the only way to significantly increase the quality of your graveyard. The other way is to create decorations. You can create gravestones, you can create borders for the graves. They'll both increase quality a lot. I really think that making the wooden crosses early on or the stone gravestones early on is pretty solid. They give you a decent amount of technology points, and they also do wonders for your quality. So here we have an example of a body that was not retrieved in time, so it has a green skull, which is just basically a permanent red skull, and it has a surgical mistake on it. When you get one of these bodies, what you want to do, at least in the early game, is you want to just kind of throw them in the river. I don't think that people in the early game should bury these bad bodies. It's kind of a race to get to 5 quality. Not a race, but it's nice to finally have the church open after you get your quality points up. So just throw it in the river. It'll probably come back and bite you in the ass later, but you can worry about that when you have more resources. So here I'm going to start talking about the second part of the strategy, or the second part of the video, which is the iron getting strategy. I'm going to begin with the technology. So you're going to need sawing. You're going to need a lot of stuff, but we're going to begin with sawing, then we're going to move on to firewood, and then we're going to move on to primitive forging. After that, we're going to go back into the building tab. We're going to go for woodworking, right? Followed by mining, right? Followed by stone cutting. And after that, we're going to go for tools. Now, the order honestly doesn't matter too much. The one that I have is recommended, but it's not on point. All of these technologies are in the pursuit of getting iron production up. So one thing that I don't want people to forget is that beneath the house in the cellar, there's plenty of barrels or whatever the hell that is that you can destroy, and you have a chance of picking up resources from them. Unfortunately, in this run of the game, I'm getting pretty unlucky, and I'm not getting that many nails or simple iron parts from them, but usually it's a little bit more than this. You know, you get like a nail, or you get a simple iron part for barrel, or whatever else there is. So you should go down to your basement, and you should really finish destroying all of the stuff in there to just harvest the iron parts, because for every iron part that you get now, you don't have to spend iron on it later, or you don't have to spend money on it later to buy it. Now, whenever you think you have downtime in the game, you don't really have downtime. There's always something that you can do. You know, go out, chop down some wood, go out, mine some trees. There's always something that you can do, because you can just use those resources for later. You can get the technology points from gathering those resources for later. You can also sell those resources for money, so you can buy more stuff later. Always a fun day in Graveyard Keeper. Now, someplace I want to direct your attention to is this place northwest of your house. It's kind of overlooking your house on a cliffside. There are these little yellowish things, or brownish things, where you can come and you can gather some metal scrap. You can turn this metal scrap into iron later. It's pretty useful, and you should probably go check it out, just to bolster your iron supply a little bit more. So here you can see me going to the mason person north of the tavern in order to sell a bunch of stone. I'm going to use this stone, or the sale of the stone, to fund my iron needs. You're going to have to sell something. Almost 100% you're going to have to sell something to one of the NPCs in order to supply your iron more, because you're going to need a good amount of simple iron parts. You're going to need a good amount of iron in order to get your iron making actually started up, annoyingly enough. So here we can see me taking the money that I made from the stone and using it to buy a bunch of simple iron parts that I'm then going to use to build a furnace, or to build an anvil, or to build whatever else I need. So here I'm back at base, and the first thing that I am going to build, or that I recommend building, this build order is like pretty recommended by me. So the first thing I'm going to build is a sawhorse. Sawhorses basically allow you to process wood a little bit more. If you don't build a sawhorse, for my strategy, you're going to build a sawhorse anyway. It's a pretty universal woodworking building. I don't actually recommend you place it right where I place it. I'll go into layout a little bit more in the miscellaneous part of the video, because I found a layout that works pretty well for all the buildings. The next thing that we build is a chopping spot. Chopping spots are used to make firewood mainly, and firewood is what you're going to be using, at least initially, to probably power your furnace, unless you're rich enough where you can skip the powering your furnace part because you have the money to buy the iron. The thing that you're going to build after that, and the thing that I'm building right now, is a wooden anvil. A wooden anvil is where you make nails and where you make simple iron parts, at least initially in the game. You can upgrade to better anvils later on. The next thing that you're going to build is a carpenter's workbench. That's where you make planks, and after you build a carpenter's workbench, you're going to probably want to build a furnace, and that's where you actually make your iron. Furnaces need to be powered, though, by firewood, sticks, or coal. Take your pick. You also have to build the carpenter's workbench, and you also have to build the furnace, like with a hammer. So in a second, you can see me doing that right here. It costs energy, so not that much. It's like 5 or 10 or something like that, but it still does cost energy. After you build the furnace and the carpenter, there's one more task that you have to do before you are able to sustainably produce iron. And that is this really annoying ass blockage in the path. It costs a decent amount of energy to actually get past, like 200. So at this point, I honestly highly recommend upgrading your pickaxe to the next level. It'll really help this out. I'm an idiot, and I didn't. So here's just me fast forwarding to me actually breaking through the barrier with my rusty pickaxe. Beyond this area, oh, I'm sorry, if I wasn't clear, this is a blockage right north of your house. So beyond this area, you're gonna, that's just me using some energy potions, you're gonna come across some coal veins, and the coal veins are going to be right to the left of the river. The river is going to be left. If you keep going left all the way of the blockage, you go west, you're gonna hit the river. You keep following the river up, you're gonna hit this coal vein. You're gonna take this coal and you're gonna take it back to the furnace, and you're gonna use this coal to power your furnace, basically. So I got my coal. Now what do I need? I need my iron. You're gonna go to the area north of your house, just literally go straight north of your house. Don't go off any cliff sides or anything like that. You're going to hit this area with a bunch of these brown grayish colored rocks, orange grayish colored rocks. You're going to mine them. That's just the iron ore. You're going to take that iron ore and you're going to stick it into your furnace. Okay, so this section of the video is for the people who have run out of iron ore north of their house. You're going to go to where the coal vein was, and you're going to keep going west. So keep going left. You're eventually going to hit an iron ore looking vein. You're going to mine it, and you're going to get this block. After you get a block, you're going to have to build a stone cutter, and you're going to have to build an iron ore storage. You're going to place the block inside of the ore storage. This is basically how you process iron. The cutter is used to cut up not only iron, but it's also stone, right? So you got your chunk, you know, it's in your storage. You open up the stone cutter, cut up the iron ore, and you get 5 just regular iron ore pieces. Now, the people who still have iron ore to the north of the house can rejoin us, and you can just put it in the furnace, just like you would any other material, right? And also, don't forget to fuel the furnace with the coal that you just got. That's pretty much it. That's how you get iron production up and running. So this is the third and final part of the video. Congratulations for making it this far. I'm just going to go through a couple of suggestions that I think will help improve your playthrough. The first one, and the very most important one, is gather berries whenever you see them. I can't tell you how many times I ran out of energy and I was literally just a little bit away from completing a task. Berries really help you out. Try not to bury people when their quality is pretty low. So at least 3 skulls. Whenever you bury somebody, you want to at least break even in terms of quality points on your graveyard, and 3 skulls at least will help you do that. The penultimate suggestion is to explore. The game is very much about exploration, and there's always something interesting right around the corner. The last suggestion that I have is a layout suggestion. So right now you're seeing a picture of the layout that I had for all my buildings at the end of my iron strategy kind of playthrough. So if you have no idea where to place your buildings, I highly recommend you use this layout so you don't have to like remove buildings and place them again later on. This layout works. It fits the anvil, the furnace, the workbench, the iron processing stuff, the wood processing stuff, everything. Use it if you want to. Don't use it if you don't want to. I think it's a good one. So that's it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Leave a comment if you enjoyed. Tell me what you liked. Leave a comment if you didn't enjoy. Tell me what you didn't like. Feedback is always appreciated, and I really thank the people that left feedback on the previous video. I got a better mic, so that's great. A separate thing, and shameless plug, I'm planning on also streaming this game on Twitch, and I'm also planning on putting out a Let's Play. So let me know if there's any interest of that. I'll see you guys in the next one.